And welcome to the Mental Health Today show. My name is John Cordray. Welcome to YouTube Live. How is everybody doing right now? I hope you're doing well. This is really interesting to me because this is only my second time on YouTube Live. A lot of times I'm on live on Facebook or on Twitter with Periscope. But this is my second time on YouTube Live, and I'm really interested to see how this turns out because this is the first time, or actually second time. I tried YouTube Live a couple of days ago just to check it out. So this is going to be interesting. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is John Cordray. I'm a national certified therapist, and I'm the host of the Mental Health Today show. Alex, I see you. Hello, is it hi? How are you? It was Boo Boo, right? And I want to welcome everybody who's live, but also if you're listening or watching this, that if it's not live, welcome as well. And so I want to talk about anxiety and phobias specifically today. And if anybody's watching this live, love to get your feedback. Love to get your questions. Just keep in mind, there is a lag right now. So there's a lag from when you type in your comment to when I see it. So if I don't comment to your question live right away, you'll know why. But I want to get into this anxiety and phobias because so many people are struggling with this. Big World. Oh yeah, Big World. All right, Alex. Glad that you're here. Sometimes when we connect on social media and you have a different handle, I don't know what your real name is. So that's good. That's good. I like that. So please, if you are watching this live and you're in the comments, let me know your name so I can give you a good shout out. But I want to talk about anxiety and phobias, and anxiety alone. Just with anxiety. In the U.S., over 40 million people struggle with an anxiety disorder, and that's reported. Now, if you think about around the world, it's even more. And then there's a type of anxiety that produces or turns into a phobia. So some of you, maybe you have anxiety, but you don't have a phobia. But if you have phobia, you definitely have anxiety. And so the two are not necessarily exclusive. They can be one or the other, right? Or the anxiety can be just anxiety. Phobias cannot be one or the other. It definitely has an intense anxiety. Think about your anxiety right now is intensified when you have a phobia. Oh, hi, thank you for tweeting this out for me. I appreciate that. If you have the ability of sharing this live, that's great. Please do so. Always want to get the word out about this because this is a message that people need to hear. And if you're not following me or subscribing to my YouTube channel, please do so. My YouTube channel name is John P. Cordray on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to it because then you'll get notified when I do go live. My goal is to be able to do more live on YouTube, Facebook, and Periscope, just as a way of getting the word out. So I love what I do. I have a private practice. In fact, right now, if you're watching this, I'm inside my office. So I'm in between clients, but I wanted to come on and talk about this. Okay. So there's two things I want to talk about. One is anxiety. And the anxiety is what I call worry intensified. There is a difference between worry and anxiety, and I'll probably do a live video on that sometime. But we're not talking about your worry. Worry is just something that maybe you're worried about a test, you're worried about paying a bill, but then that thing goes away and you're on to the next, and the worry kind of goes away. The anxiety doesn't really go away. It's there, and sometimes it increases, and sometimes it's just in the background, but it's there. And so that type of anxiety, the anxiety that you can't seem to get rid of, and sometimes you don't know why you have anxiety. Sometimes it's just there, you feel it, but you don't know why you have it. And it's hard because it's hard to explain it to somebody else. So let's say you have a lot of anxiety about going to the dentist, but you are afraid to even say that because you don't want to be embarrassed. Or maybe you don't want to tell a friend or a spouse or a parent that your anxiety is so intense that it keeps you from wanting to do things. Maybe go to school, go to work. And then that anxiety is so bad that it produces shame and guilt because you're thinking to yourself, I should be doing this. I should be able to go to this. Everybody else is doing it. Why can't I do it? And then you start beating yourself up because you can't do something because of your anxiety. Or maybe it's you have the anxiety, but you don't realize it. Maybe it's hard to articulate it. And maybe you didn't think that it was anxiety. Maybe you just thought it was just, you just didn't want to do it. But actually, it could be anxiety. And so what happens, the intensity of the anxiety can be focused on one particular thing. And then that thing becomes a phobia. And sometimes people develop these phobias, these intense fear that something horrible is going to happen if they encounter whatever it is that they have a phobia about. Now, there are literally hundreds of phobias. If you were just to do a simple Google search, you'll know that there are hundreds of different phobias. And a phobia is just a intense fear of that one particular thing. And probably the one that you may have heard of, but maybe you didn't know what it was called. It's termed agoraphobia. Agoraphobia is an intense fear of open places. And so often people who are living with agoraphobia are a prisoner of their own home. They feel like they can't get outside. They can't get out and do normal things like going to the grocery store, getting gas, just going outside. It's intense anxiety for them. And so they stay home. And that turns into agoraphobia. And then that guilt comes in. The guilt of, I should be able to go out. Everybody else is going out. Why can't I go out? There's something wrong with me. And that vicious cycle starts to go over and over again. Other people have phobias around animals or insects or bugs or germs. It could be a phobia of, I know my mom has a phobia of snakes. And obviously, what did I do as a teenager? You probably guess it. I would go and get snakes and scare her. I shouldn't have done that, but I was playing a practical joke, and I was a practical jokester when I was in high school. But now, looking back, I should not have done that, but I did. And thankfully, my mom and I can kind of joke about that now. But at the time, it really scared her. And to the point of when I would point out a snake, she would just freeze, petrified. And other people have phobias over spiders. Others have phobias of different parts of the open public, maybe restrooms. There's a phobia. And so the anxiety that leads to phobias is very, very real. And yet, what do you do? What do you do when you're struggling with that phobia? Like my mom, she froze when she saw a snake. She didn't know what to do. But her body kind of took over and she froze. Other people will run or scream. But there's usually a bodily reaction towards that phobia. Sometimes it's getting sick to your stomach, getting a headache. And that panicky feeling is that you have to get away, you have to escape. Or it keeps you from actually pursuing something. In a case of agoraphobia, it's that fear of open places, so they don't go into open places and they stay home. So they're avoiding certain things. People who have a phobia over spiders tend to avoid places where spiders hang out. And typically in that case, it's probably okay just to avoid it and you can be fine. You can kind of live your life and not need intervention necessarily. You just kind of avoid where spiders hang out, or you avoid where snakes hide out or hang out, and you avoid it. And that could be fine. And you can live your life normally. But sometimes that phobia leads to you can't do things, you can't go places at all. What do? And so I would just encourage you, if you have anxiety, if you have phobias, that one, to acknowledge it, two, don't beat yourself up for it and feel like there's something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just your fear is in overdrive. And so often people who are struggling with a phobia, it's something that happened, some kind of traumatic experience that happened as a child in their childhood. And then it carries on all the way through adulthood. And, if I were to sit down with my mom and we can talk about her phobias of snakes, she would tell us that something happened as a child, that she saw a snake and it scared her so much so it was like a brand. It branded her mind and her brain. And so now every time she sees a snake or she thinks she sees a snake, she'll freeze or she'll get panicky. And so often it results to something that happened when you were little. And so if you feel like your anxiety, your phobia is getting in the way and keeping you from really living your life, then I would recommend that you see a therapist. Talk to a therapist. Talk it out and maybe even try to identify where it started. There's always a start. It starts somewhere. The phobia. Anxiety is a little bit different because it can be hereditary. It can be hereditary. It's a part of your DNA makeup, and it was passed down from generation to generation. Phobias, on the other hand, are typically an occurrence that happened in your life at some point, and likely it's in your childhood. And maybe you didn't get help for that specific thing, that fear. And then over time, that fear took over and it developed into a phobia. So if you're struggling with either anxiety or phobias, I would encourage you to get help from a therapist, someone who can help you walk through that, process what you're going through, and just be able to realize that it's an annoyance in your life, but it doesn't have to take control over your life. Does that make sense? And so if that's something that, like agoraphobia tends to be more severe because you can't get out, or you feel like you can't get out. And so you're stuck at home. So that's a more severe part of a phobia. And, phobias can be, and what's hard about that is if you have a phobia over something that maybe not be spiders, may not be snakes, some of the more common things, if it's a very obscure thing that you have a phobia about, you might have a lot of anxiety from that because you're embarrassed that you have a phobia over that. It could be anything, like I mentioned before. That phobia can come from anywhere and can be attached to anything. And so that's why I want to encourage you to get the help that you need. Don't be embarrassed. Maybe it'll go away, because typically phobias will go away unless you. So there's a lot of things that a therapist. Well, it looks like we've got some connection issues here. You got some buffering going on. All right. You got to love this. You got to love the live. Can you just, I don't know if you can see this. Can anybody hear me right now? Because it doesn't seem like I have very good stream. Did I just cut out on you? Are you still watching? Oh, boy. YouTube is not receiving video to maintain smooth streaming. Why is that? Why? Can you hear me or see me? Like we have poor reception again. This happened to me last time. And that's pretty frustrating. Can you see me? Oh, are we back on? We're back on. Good. Yeah, YouTube, this is the second time I've done YouTube Live, and now it's the second time that my team kind of cut off there. Why it's doing that? I don't have, there it goes again. All right. Now, I don't know if you can see or hear me, but it looks like it says that I'm having low output. So I don't think you can see me, probably buffering for you. Yeah, it just completely cut off on me. Oh my goodness gracious. We're back on now, right? Well, it looks like YouTube Live is not really reliable so far for me because it keeps cutting out. And I'm not sure why, because I don't, we hear you fine. Okay, you can hear me fine. Interesting. Okay. Oh, how fun. So I was talking about anxiety and phobias and how important it is for you to get the help that you need. Don't put it off. It's just going to go away. More than likely, it won't. And so you need to help, need some support in that. You could do is even have a friend that you and talk through and talk to them about that. Streaming's going off again. Huh. So, sorry. If you can see this, I'm distracted because it keeps telling me that I have low output. And it's not a very good stream. So I don't know if you can. Oh, it doesn't do this for me with Periscope or Facebook. So I don't know why it's doing it for me for live. Not cutting out as much as you think. Now it just did. Okay. Yeah, unfortunately, that's a little distracting. But anyway, so if you can see this and hear this, I hope you can, because for me I have an indication that my stream just went bad. So I don't know if you can see me or hear me. So anyway, I would love to get some of your input if you have, some questions. If you're watching us on YouTube, any questions that you might have, any maybe even a story that you struggled with. Maybe if you have panic or phobias yourself, I would love to know some of your struggles. So if you have a story or a question, let me know, and then I'll try to answer that before we end our time. Oh, so this is going to be interesting for me to see go back and see if it actually cut out or it was just buffering. So I don't know. I don't know what the deal is there. Yeah. So it's buffering for you. Well, I wanted to thank all of you for watching this, and I appreciate your time. Hopefully, this has been helpful. I see. Okay. All right. Great, Alex. I love trying new things. This YouTube Live is new for me, and I hope I can work out the bugs. I don't know why it's working that way. If I ever get the mobile live streaming capabilities, maybe the mobile device would be better than this. I don't know. I'm using an encoder to be able to shoot this live. So I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully over time they'll just get better and better. Without interruptions. I will probably try maybe to do some different sound effects with YouTube Live like I do Facebook Live. Alex, am I going on Twitter soon? Yeah, later today I will be on Periscope around 4 o'clock Central Time. So I do plan to go on Periscope about 4 o'clock Central Time, which is 5 o'clock Eastern Time. Whatever time zone that you're in, let's look up what time Central is to you. But we'll just be hanging out there. I'll be taking a lot of questions and just chatting on Periscope. I try to do that as well. If you're not already, follow me on Facebook, because I also have a live show on Facebook. You can go. No, thank you, John. Thanks. You can follow the show, the Mental Health Today show on Facebook. So you can just type in, if you're a Facebook person, you may not. How many of you actually go on Facebook? Because I know sometimes people on YouTube are not always on Facebook and vice versa. So you have a question, Alex? Go for it. I'll type in the Facebook page here for you. So it's facebook.com/The Mental Health Today Show. Oh, you don't? You don't have a question now? Okay. If you haven't subscribed to me yet on YouTube, I would encourage you to do that. Follow me on Twitter. My main live streaming that I do is Twitter, which is Periscope, now YouTube, and then Facebook Live. Those are the 3 live streamings. So I would encourage you that you follow on all 3 of those. So when I go live, you'll get notified. And you do. Okay. And you can also you can always go to the website, thementalhealthtodayshow.com, and you can check it out there too. Let's see if I can type that in. Trying to do this without my glasses. Did I spell that right? Something like that. thementalhealthtodayshow.com. There you can see all the things that I do. All right, any questions, Alex, or anybody else that might have one? Ask away. Yes, ask away. So my audio is good. I'm using an external microphone. Hopefully that sounds better. So I found what was triggering my anxiety that I was holding for yes, and I finally told my mom, will that help? You're holding for yes. Well, I'm glad that you told your mom, Alex. I think that's good with my recovery to overcome my anxiety. Yeah, so I'm glad that you told your mom, and hopefully she'll believe you and take you serious. And I would, if you're needing some help, you have to advocate for yourself. So just telling your mom you have anxiety is good. It's a good start. But when I would encourage you to go and say, I need some help. I need to be able to go see a therapist for your anxiety. Hey, Morgan, how are you? Good to see you. So does that make sense, Alex? That you advocate for yourself. I think it's good that you told your mom, but also now the next step is, well, I want to go see a therapist to talk through my anxiety. I think it was. I think it might have been. It might have been Morgie. Oh, you are seeing a counselor on meds and a doc. Okay, good. Good, Alex. I'm glad. I'm glad that you are taking those steps that you need to work through that, because I think that's very, very important. That's all you can do. Just try to keep going every day. I talk about the big five. Y'all know about the big five. If you follow me on Periscope, you probably have heard me talk about it. So it's one is eat healthy. Don't eat a bunch of junk. 2 is drink plenty of water. 3 would be get enough sleep. 4, exercise. And then 5, to smile more. Smile more. Medication-free space for you. Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you don't want medication, then, hey, that's fine. I've been seeing a client for many years who chooses not to do medication, but rather wants to work through their anxiety on their own, and he's doing a great job. So you don't have to go to medication. I follow your big five. Well, thanks, Alex. Good, awesome. I'm glad that you follow that. That's great. It's really interesting. On Periscope, I'm used to all the hearts going up. And I keep wanting to say I need to see some hearts to see if I have a good connection. But I can't see hearts here. You feel better with the big five? I'm glad, Alex. I think that's important. That's why I talk about it a lot. It's something simple and free, and yet so many times it's overlooked because people don't realize their physical health is directly connected with their emotional health. You don't eat any more junk food. Wow, that's impressive. Now, I don't advocate none. Have some moderation. But if you don't want to eat it at all, then by all means, that's fine. But if you deprive yourself of something, you'll end up a lot of times you'll end up wanting more of it and getting frustrated with it, and then you blow it. You like the advice I give. Thank you, Alex. I appreciate that. I don't know if you can share. Can you share YouTube? I don't know if you can or not. But if you can, I would appreciate you sharing. And I want to get as many people to subscribe to the channel so they can be a part of this. I think I really like YouTube. Oh, they're my hearts. That's awesome. That's great. Oh, that's funny. Somebody, if you're listening to this, somebody just put in a bunch of hearts in the comments. I love it. Yeah, there is a severe lag. I don't know how to fix that, but hopefully we can figure something out. I know there's a lag on Facebook Live as well. Another reason why I like Periscope so much is that there's not a lag. It is instant. And I'm not sure why that is, why there's a lag, but hopefully it'll get better. I hope it'll just get better and better. We'll see. I'm really excited to see how YouTube Live does. How people interact with it. I know YouTube really likes the live. And in other words, I think they open it up to more people. I think I'm going to get more exposure on these live streams after the fact when it's just a recording than I would with any of my native videos that I upload. It's just a theory, but I think my theory is that most of these bigger platforms are pushing live, and so they're going to let you get more live. Lag is your game. I just want to get better with anxiety. Absolutely, Alex. I believe you will. I believe it's little by little. Don't give up, and just keep doing what you're doing. Don't give up the hope. Well, I think it's about time for me to end our stream here. Thanks, guys, for hanging out with me. It's always been these live streams when people are watching. So, o'clock Central Time. I'm going to go ahead and end. Thank you so much for being